guests to also come on. If they want to come on, we'll take them on.
Okay. And
है
what's the
ना?
topic?
We don't have. See, the original topic was this big debate against between vegans and carnists, and Deepika was joining us from London, and AIM was on of course, the carnist side. And then he just didn't turn up. He ditched. And then I came back home and I saw like 25 people waiting. And I said, crap, we were supposed to start at what time? And people are still waiting. So I said,
They're
let me
still
just come.
waiting.
Yeah, they're still waiting.
That's so
About
nice of
20.
them.
That's really nice of them. And I just want everyone to know that AIM cancelled. Nobody else cancelled. But what we are going to do today is try something new. Since I'm really touched that so many people were actually waiting for us. So I'm going to, on the live chat, I'm going to put the StreamYard link up. And if you want to come on the show and talk to, Pallavi and me about something, anything, politics, the headlines of the day, then go ahead and join us on the link. Remember, no abusive language, okay? None. That's it. And I'm sending out the link to you all. We're trying this for the first time. So if this goes well, then we'll continue with it. And yeah, and AIM basically is not responding to any messages. And he's
He's
not responding
partying.
to
Sorry, I'm
messages.
just trying to settle down.
Okay. He's not responded to any messages for like the last 4 hours or something. So it's actually, now I'm getting worried because that's not like him. But the tale of early Rani and the missing ganja, really,
Tweet.
it's actually like that.
We'll tweet and he'll respond.
Yeah. So okay. So like we've shared the StreamYard link and nobody's taking us up on it because nobody's joined us as yet. So basically, nobody wants to come on screen. And that's also okay, but if you do, then you're welcome and we'll get you on the show and then you can ask your questions. Or oh wait, we've got someone here. Yay, our first guest, Pallavi. Hardik
Ooh,
Thanki is joining us. Here, I'm adding him. Hi, Hardik. Oh, we've got more people joining us. Yay. So we'll go one at a
that's
time.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, Hardik, can you hear us?
Hello,
Hardik?
how are you?
Oh, hi, where are you joining us from?
Hello, how are you? Yes, I
Very
can hear
well,
you
thank.
completely.
Oh, great.
I'm from
And
Ahmedabad, Gujarat.
okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear
Yeah,
Ahmedabad,
you
yeah, we
now.
can
Gujarat.
hear you. We can
We
hear
can
you,
hear you.
Hardik.
Go ahead.
Okay. Uh, my question for
There's
Pallavi.
Shreyas also. Oh
Shreyas is
God.
here as well.
Okay.
Hi.
Shreyas is also there.
Uh, Madam Ghosh, can you tell me, are there any dynamic leaders left in Congress who can resurrect the Congress party in future?
That is something you should be able to answer, Hardik. Do you think there are any dynamic leaders? Most of them have left to join the BJP. But on a serious note, I think they are. They are. I mean, I get to meet them because, and not all of them are very high profile. So quite a few are there. But your dynamism also has a threshold. I mean, at the end of the day, it's your party also which defines you. Sometimes if your party is very strong or your party leader is very strong, even if you're not all that dynamic, you get that push up. Congress में problem यही है because the party is also weak, leadership is also weak. Now there's no clarity on कौन है leader अभी भी. So the dynamism of many of those also adds to their frustration. कुछ तो ऐसे frustrated हो आते हैं कि हम करें तो करें कहाँ क्या जाएं तो जाएं कहाँ. कुछ लोग तो चले गए towards the BJP. But yeah, there is a level of frustration certainly within the Congress. But to say that there's no one in the Congress party who's dynamic is also a little unfair.
What about Sachin Pilot, Milind
Ha, he's
Deora?
one of them. See, Abhay is mentioning two such leaders, Sachin Pilot, Milind Devra. They are young, they are dynamic. Among the seniors also, I mean, what is dynamism actually? What is being a dynamic leader? For me, even a Kamal Nath will be considered to be a dynamic because at the end of the day, if you have a connect with the ground or you
Okay, thank
understand
you.
how to work a strategy, that for me is also being dynamic. But oh, so Hardik has asked this question and gone. Let's ask what Shreyas.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
how we like. Okay, Shreyas, you're now
Uh,
on.
Hi Advaita, hi Pallavi. I've been following this show for almost a year now.
Wow.
So
Oh,
Thank you.
Yeah. So you are the opposite of Latvians, I would say.
Advaita, yeah.
No,
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're
she's
Advaita
born
called
is
in
early
Latvian.
Rani.
Pallavi is still part of Latvians. We know that. Yeah.
but do you know something, Shreyas? I have actually lived in Lutyens for
Oh,
25 years. And
okay.
my school was right next to Khan Market. So after school, we used to come to Khan Market, and there was a
See,
Chona's.
Khan Market
So
gang.
you are the original Latvians then.
Yeah, she's the original Latin.
Background is totally that, but that's not how I remember it. So like I still remember the stationery shop
Okay,
Narulas, not Nirulas, where we used to go and buy pens and all that other stuff. But so yeah,
great.
so
So I
that's
have one question, like regarding Modi's outreach to the minority community yesterday. So what I
hmm.
feel is, like going into the election year, to 2024, he wants everyone to get together, you know, and I feel that he doesn't want any confrontation going forward, like Shine Bagh. So I don't think there is going to be UCC in this term. Would you agree with that?
Pallavi, on to you.
He's asking you.
Yeah, both of you,
No, no,
both of you.
both of us.
Okay,
You go
Advaita,
ahead.
I'll
I'm
answer first.
thinking Shreyas's question.
Uh,
Yeah.
So you go first.
yeah, well, I mean, I don't know. I can't say, but yeah, for now, suddenly no one from the BJP is talking about UCC. It's not that it's not a fit case for UCC, or the BJP doesn't think that there should be a fit case for UCC. But in the minds of perception, there is a narrative which is also being built up by some, which believes that UCC is going to be against the minority, which I think Modi is trying to woo. But see, many people were against the triple talaq also, no? The banning of the triple talaq. Many
Yeah,
people then accuse his government of being anti-minorities because they're trying to push in their agenda. Triple talaq is a part of a culture. They managed to convince, and at the end of the day, the women were happy. I think
but
this government takes a
yeah,
lot of decisions which many
yeah,
people think is going to be very contentious, and hence they're going to stay away. They don't stay away. If they're
but
actually convinced that
yeah,
it's good, then they'll go ahead.
but I feel this is not the right time. Maybe they'll do it in the next term. See, like just like Article 370, they did it at the beginning of this term, right?
Yeah. Yeah, maybe
Yeah,
you're right, Shreya. They had 4.5 years to deal with it. Yeah, maybe
yeah,
they'll do the UCC. Maybe UCC is going to be in their manifesto or one of the poll promises,
yeah.
and they
Because
start
anyway,
spelling out that UCC.
for Hindutva, they have Ram Temple, so they don't need UCC to galvanize the Hindus, right?
Yeah,
At least for
yeah,
now.
yeah.
At least
Makes
not for
sense.
24. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they don't want a
Hmm.
Shaheen Bagh for 2023. Again, repeat of that, because anyway, the global economy is slowing down. We are going to have some effect of recession in US,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
obviously
Hmm.
that factor is there. Not everyone is going to be happy and making money this year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm.
I,
So
I think I think definitely I think if you got sabka saath sabka vikas, I think now it's like sabka bharosa also, and I
yeah,
think I think that's an important strategy because none of the government's policies are really discriminatory. But what has happened is that the Western media and the leftist media has
yeah,
built this up, and I have to also say
Sorry.
some
yeah,
of the
I'm
comments
sorry.
made by some of the BJP firebrands that has
yeah.
also, created this impression that a certain community is being marginalized and, kind of victimized. When the
Hmm.
Mhm.
government's actual policies don't do that at all. In fact, be it education, be it triple talaq, which I
Absolutely,
think is a very progressive law. So I think the
absolutely.
Prime Minister has understood that to counter this, propaganda, he will
Yeah,
also have to kind of make some overtures. And he's
Hmm.
always
yeah.
been very comfortable with the Muslim community in Gujarat, for example,
Right,
So I
right.
think just now something that he's going to just take at a national level. But
Yeah, and hopefully we'll have a third term, no? Hopefully.
oh, I think we will. I think Prime Minister Modi will definitely have a third term.
Yeah, and
And
with majority at least, with 272 at least.
Could I
yeah,
just
I
jump
think,
in
I
and
think,
and
yeah, yeah,
More
ask
than
you?
please,
272 is
Yeah.
what
Yeah,
he's
So,
aiming
yeah,
at. He's aiming
welcome.
to break the
who-
Rajiv Gandhi record. So I think that's their strategy. They really want to have a huge, I mean, at least 400 or something like that. I don't know whether that's going to happen now because I think when Rajiv Gandhi got it, it was largely a two-party system. Abhi to there are so many splinters, so many
no,
regional
that was
parties.
sympathy vote, right, of Indira Gandhi.
yeah.
Sympathy vote, and also it was more largely a two-party system even at that point, predominantly.
No,
Now
one
you have a
party actually. It
multi-party
was
system.
one party, not two
Yeah.
Yeah,
party.
it was one
One
party,
party.
but technically speaking, it was BJP versus Congress and all.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
now
right.
you have so many parties in the states, and they're all very powerful. So they're also going to eat into the entire kitty. But if you look at the strategy of the BJP of late, they're also trying to enter into states where they don't have a stronghold. So the calculation
Mm-hmm.
is कि इस state में अगर दो भी मिल जाए, like in Odisha we win MPs and southern states
Yeah.
we win MPs. I think our overall kitty. So he really wants to break his own record, plus that of Rajiv Gandhi.
So yeah, I had a question for you guys. How
And
much
please
damage?
clarify very
No, we
How,
quickly
don't
that
get
none of
paid,
you are getting
Dominion.
paid. No one is getting paid, okay? In fact, we started membership, so you can pay me, all of you.
uh,
Okay, go
right?
ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. How much damage do you think the Hindenburg report caused to Adani and, in conjecture, to Modi?
Yeah. Pallavi, you were in Parliament all this week. You saw the
Um,
arguments and all being offered. So, what do you think? What do you think? Anyone who's not speaking, let's mute because I think there's some feedback. Yeah. Okay, Pallavi. So,
damage.
Yeah, go
Actually,
ahead.
Advaita, you should be answering this question because I'm too much into it. I was too much in the thick
No,
of
see,
things.
I from the outside looking in, if, and I said this on TV also, if you're going to try and attack the prime minister's credibility and personal integrity, you're going to lose. Okay. And this I'm talking not as someone who supports him. That's obvious to everybody. I do. But if I just look at this very objectively as well, in 2019, they tried that Chaukidar Chor Hai, and it backfired in a big way. It just didn't work. In 2019, they tried that Rafale, and that the government has made some cut on it, and Modi is directly responsible, and Modi directly struck the deal. And the bottom line was that didn't work. In fact, the French, it went as high up as the French president, so it was almost an international incident, and Rahul Gandhi was called out on it. Now he's doing the same thing here, like GVK. I don't know. They did dadagiri with GVK, and he had to give up his airport for Adani. Now Sanjeev Reddy has come out, and Sanjay Reddy or Sanjeev Reddy. It's I think Sanjeev Reddy. He's come out in public and he's given a whole timeline and said it was a post-COVID era, and we were not getting the money, and we had our debts coming through, and those people who were supposed to loan us money said that these are the new parameters and you have to go by these. But Adani came in and said, okay, I'm going to do it. I'll give you the money within the time that you need to pay off your debts. And as a functioning business, they didn't want to be, defaulting on their debts. So they made the deal. He's cleared it. Now, again, your lie is being called out, but you're insisting on going with this. So I really have to say that, what you think of yourself, or you're seeing your own reflection in other people. Because the Congress is equal to corruption, at least in terms of perception. And that perception has not changed. So if they want to go for Modi, I think, first of all, going for Modi would be not a very bright idea. I think they should go local and they should go seat wise and put up candidates who can win, because I'm sorry, in 2024 also, you're not going to be able to challenge Modi, especially not on his integrity.
Right.
Pallavi,
So
Yeah.
over.
what's
I
the
agree. I agree with Advaita. In terms of it could be a redux of that Chaukidar Chor Hai moment. See,
Hmm.
there's only one worry for the BJP is that how well is the opposition going to be able to build up this momentum? That not Modi, but it's this government. If you look at the strategy, while the Congress is making a personal attack on the Prime Minister, calling him corrupt, other political parties which are also raising this issue inside parliament, like the Trinamool Congress, are being very smarter. They are not making it about the Hindenburg report so much. They're not making it about the prime minister. They're trying to make it more about the poor people ka money, hard-earned money that is being taken away, so on and so forth. Because they understand that it can boomerang, as Advaita very correctly pointed, it boomerang because no one is going to believe this, that the prime minister is personally corrupt. Just nobody is going to believe that he has made money. So, and look at the images. I mean, Parliament ends, I think, next week. All this happened yesterday when the Prime Minister responded. And in the last 3 days, he's clocked, I mean, more than 48 hours. He's been traveling Mumbai, then he's Lucknow before that, where Advaita, I think you were. Lucknow, then he goes to Mumbai, now he's in Tripura, then he's going somewhere else tomorrow. So that image, dimag mein loga, ye bhi hai, this man is working non-stop and all. And therefore, he's not corrupt. Only thing the opposition के लिए challenge होगा if they can try and convince the voters that actually it's your money which has been taken away, which is not going to be an easy thing for the opposition to be able to convince the voters. So I
Yeah.
don't see this as a very big electoral, kind of a problem for the BJP. It doesn't seem
right?
like that.
It's not a winning proposition.
Yeah.
So there is an ongoing trend where Congress is trying to go for the left vote share, and the left is cannibalizing its own vote share. How is like 10 years, 20 years from now, how is the BJP going to face a defeat? Is it even possible, or are we a one-party state now?
Well, I mean, at one point of time, people used to say the same thing about the Congress party. Can Congress ever be defeated? It's only a one party. There's no one apart from Indira Gandhi or Rajiv Gandhi. It happened. I mean, BJP, for example, got 1 or 2 seats at one point of time. Wrong, we're back. Who would have thought that today they're going to be in power? Forget that. 2004. I mean, I think as a political reporter, I can say this: you should never ever think that nothing can happen. 2004. Who would have thought that Sonia Gandhi could actually ensure that Atal Bihari Vajpayee could be defeated? I mean, his government could be defeated. But immediately, if you're talking about a defeat, I don't know. I'm finding it very difficult. The opposition is just too fragmented. They're too divided. There are just too many egos. There's just too many ambitions among themselves. So अभी तो बड़ा मुश्किल लग रहा है. But in politics, one never knows. Everyone has his day.
So
Advaita has disappeared somewhere. Yeah. So you guys just carry on till she joins us
I'm
back.
here,
Oh, she's
I'm
back.
here.
Yeah.
And whoever's asked the question, if you can drop out of the conversation, come back later, because then they'll say you're making the screen look like Republic. But except for
Oh.
Sohail, I don't have to kick anyone out of the stream. So, so if you're done with your question and you want to pop out, then come back. So I think we're on to Saurabh next. Yeah, go ahead, Saurabh.
Hi, hello Advaita ji, hello Pallavi
Hi.
ji. I am first of all, I would like to say I'm a big admirer of both of you. I like the work which you do. I have been
Yeah, we
following
should
you.
tell this to Abhijit and Sohail, who missed out today.
Yeah,
Well,
so Abhijit messaged me saying I'm at home. Like he's like nothing's happened, you know. I said, "Where are you?" He said, "I'm at home."
So
so
isn't he
he is.
supposed to join us?
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead. Go on,
Yeah,
Saurabh.
go ahead. Sorry, Saurabh.
Pallavi ji, I wanted to ask from you since you have been following Congress for a very long time, and actually I am from Varanasi, Uttar Pradesh. So I wanted to know about the Congress future in Uttar Pradesh, particularly.
ये तो आप
What is
बताओगे
going?
ना सौरभ. You should be able to tell us.
Actually, I don't see
Actually,
anything
people are telling
for them.
Hindi also, by the way, huh? Guys, if you people are saying talk in Hindi also. तो अगर हिंदी में बोलना है, हिंदी में भी बोलते हैं.
दैट्स बेटर। तो मुझे कुछ लगता नहीं है, मतलब मैं चाहता हूं कि कांग्रेस बीजेपी में एक अच्छी फाइट हो यूपी में, पर मुझे कुछ दिख नहीं रहा है बिकॉज माय फैमिली इज वेरी क्लोजली रिलेटेड वाज वेरी क्लोजली रिलेटेड विद कांग्रेस पार्टी।
अच्छा.
और जो मैं यहाँ पे जो भी ट्रेंड देख रहा हूँ, लोगों के अंदर इतना गुस्सा आता जा रहा है क्योंकि कांग्रेस इतनी ज्यादा नेगेटिविटी फैलती जा रही है, और ये जो नेगेटिविटी है मैं पिछले 1 से 1.5 साल में काफी ज्यादा देख रहा हूँ।
कांग्रेस के
इससे
खिलाफ.
पहले जी हाँ, कांग्रेस के खिलाफ।
क्यों?
और वहां पे काशी में वो भी है ना, वहां के लोकल नेता राय है ना, क्या नाम है उनका? राय, लास्ट नेम इज राय.
मैं यही जानना चाहता था कि यहाँ पे इन लोगों की क्या स्ट्रेटेजी है, कांग्रेस यहाँ पे क्या प्लान करे, क्योंकि यहाँ पे जो
See,
हम
they
देख रहे
have only, उनके पास तो एक ही सीट है ना लोकसभा का. Someone has to mute. उनके पास तो एक ही सीट है. हाँ, ओके सर, उनके पास एक ही सीट है ना लोकसभा में, रायबरेली. अगर अगली बार एक सोनिया गांधी भी कंटेस्ट नहीं करती है तो पता नहीं कौन कंटेस्ट करेगा कि जीतेगा. देन तो दे गोइंग टू बी कंप्लीटली वाइप्ड आउट फ्रॉम द स्टेट. See, अभी देखो what is it? It's like BJP, then there's a little bit of Samajwadi Party, and then there's very little bit of BSP. उसके बाद there is Congress. And I don't know, मुझे तो लगता है हताशा है, उनको खुद समझ में नहीं आ रहा है क्या करना है क्या नहीं करना है. मतलब उन्होंने सबसे बड़ा जो उनका तुरुप का एक पत्ता था वो थी प्रियंका गांधी वाड्रा. If she could not ensure a good performance for the Congress party, then I don't know. I mean, she had the charisma. I mean, Rahul Gandhi is seen as a failed UP politician. वो तो अपने कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी अमेठी से ही हार गया. तो उनके लिए वापस यूपी जाना बड़ा मुश्किल होगा यार. वो और अब है प्रियंका और सोनिया गांधी. मुझे पता नहीं हेल्थ ग्राउंड्स पे इस बार कंटेस्ट करेगी कि नहीं करेंगे, मुश्किल लग रहा है. लेकिन उनकी जगह पे कौन करेगा? अगर प्रियंका करेगी और हार गई, इट्स गोइंग टू बी डिजास्टर ना.
पर लग रहा है कि सोनिया गांधी मे नॉट कंटेस्ट इस बारी, क्यों? क्योंकि उनकी स्वास्थ्य की वजह से कि उम्र
Yeah,
की
because
वजह
see,
से?
2020, see, doesn't go to a constituency at all. Raebareli तो वो जाती ही नहीं है, कोई नहीं जाता. For that matter, even Priyanka doesn't go to Raebareli and look after. Phone call करने से constituency थोड़ी run होता है. तो how fair is that? तो 2024 में will she still be active? Because अभी तो वो active है नहीं, except parliament के अंदर. Otherwise वो नहीं है. So 2024, I mean, I don't know. I mean, see, people may not also want to vote for her, na, even if she contests in 2024, because उनको पता है वो वहाँ जाएंगी नहीं, वो absentee सांसद रहेंगी. Why should we vote for her? और अब तक तो यही था ना कि फ्रेंडली फाइट होता था. एसपी भी किसी को नहीं खड़ा करती थी, बीएसपी. इस बार तो वो भी नहीं करेंगे. वो भी तो नाराज है ना कांग्रेस से.
नहीं, पर अगर ये नहीं लड़ेंगी, अगर सोनिया गांधी नहीं लड़ेंगी, तो क्या हो सकता है कि प्रियंका गांधी रायबरेली से लड़े फिर?
Well, if they
Possible?
decide, they can't afford to lose both Amethi and Raebareli as a Gandhi family bastion. Amethi to chala hi gaya na haath se. This time round also, no chance. I think it's very difficult that Rahul Gandhi may win from Amethi because people are not angry with Smriti. I mean, ऐसा इतना भी anger नहीं है कि they'll vote her out. But
और
Raebareli भी नहीं लड़ेंगी, then then you've lost two family bastions. Amethi भी गया and Raebareli भी गया. So I think they'll want to maintain Raebareli. But ये है कि if it not Sonia, will it be Priyanka or will it be Rahul? For all you know, you know. Because
और
देखो इतना तो है कि if Sonia Gandhi doesn't contest, some kind of a sympathy they'll also try to whip up. that वो बीमार हैं, सोनिया गांधी हैं, वो एक बार जाएगी कैंपेन कर लोगों को एक संदेश देंगे कि प्लीज मेरी जगह पे इनको वोट दे देना. So maybe this could be a last chance, but पता नहीं.
Okay, and Aditya, over to you now. Hi Aditya, we can't hear
What?
you. Unmute yourself. Yeah, hi.
Yeah, ma'am. Hi. How are you? I'm a big fan of your work. I actually watch your videos a night. And my
Thank
question
you.
to you, ma'am, is what's your opinion on the watch Moya and what do you think? Is that appropriate, or do you think that the people are overreacting? Because so many people heckled her. She was getting interrupted by the other members in the parliament. She was getting disturbed by the other people. So, what do you think the word which she used is legit, or do you think the other party is overreacting, or how do you see these things? What's your thought on this?
I want to know from Pallavi because she was in Parliament and
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
was there a stir like after her speech? Were like parliamentarians kind of going, "My God, what did she say?" Or were they like,
अरे
"Yeah, I'm
her
so."
own party के people were shocked कि क्या बोल
अच्छा,
दिया. But no one can say. See, if you notice, तृणमूल कांग्रेस से किसी ने कोई नहीं डिफेंड किया, किसी ने नहीं डिफेंड किया. नॉट इवन द कांग्रेस, किसी ने ट्वीट भी नहीं किया. नॉर्मली शशि थरूर सबसे पहले जाके डिफेंड करता है, द इनडिफेंसिबल. बट उसने भी नहीं किया बिकॉज यू कांट यूज सम वर्ड्स इनसाइड पार्लियामेंट नो मैटर हाउ मच यू आर प्रोवोक्ड, हाउ मच यू आर हेकल्ड. आप पॉलिटिशियन हो, यू वर्क इन द थिक ऑफ थिंग्स एंड नॉट एवरीवन इज गोइंग टू बी नाइस टू यू एंड यू विल बी इंटरप्टेड. इसका मतलब ये थोड़ी कि आप गाली गलौज करोगे. I don't know. I don't support it. And I also didn't agree with her when she said कि अगर men use कर सकते हैं तो हम क्यों नहीं. भैया men की बराबरी करना ही गाली गलौज में थोड़ी होता है.
and then she's saying that this is an Arabic root of the word is haram. So from that word,
So the
this
fact that she's having to give these kind of explanations shows that even she knows that she shouldn't have said it.
yeah, and she's giving this explanation, and she's getting platformed by Rajdeep Sardesai, who always kind of has this like thing high and mighty and sort of the moral compass man. And if it was a man, imagine if it was a male parliamentarian who had used this word for a female parliamentarian, what would have happened, Pallavi?
बाप रे बाप.
वही तो मैं कह रही हूँ.
Lynched.
Lynched, right? So then why are we having these double standards is my question. Like, why are we saying it's okay for her to do it?
Absolutely, which is why I don't agree with her when she says कि अगर men भी करते you इस्तेमाल करते हैं तो मैं भी कर सकती हूँ. I don't agree with that.
Yeah, totally. Charan is here. I don't think Charan wants us to see him, but that's okay. Sharon, do you wanna ask your question or comment? And there's anonymous also, who's some sort of hobbit, I think. I don't know what that is.
I think that is AIM.
Can you hear me?
It's not here. Yeah, Sharon, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity, first of all, Advaita ji. Uh,
Thank you.
I regular, I'm a regular watcher, and I think the guest you bring, Pallavi ji, also every time when I see her getting heckled by Sohail or Abhijit, it
Ah,
feels,
thank you. They heckle both of us.
yeah, I see that, and I feel that you stand up your ground. We are behind you.
Oh, very good. Please make sure you say that in the comments and like abuse and troll them.
Ah,
We're not in parliament, so you can abuse Sohail and AIM. I'm just saying.
Yeah, sure. So my question is to Pallavi ji that you were in the parliament and you saw the ruckus created by the opposition when the prime minister was making his speech in the Rajya Sabha. First of all, if the tables were turned around, then there would all be this democracy is under threat. You're not allowing the opposition to speak. You're suppressing people. And when you see Rahul Gandhi ji going up and telling that you're not allowing me to speak, so all these questions rise up. They believe in democracy, but they don't act like they really believe in democracy. So what are your thoughts on this?
see, I have also covered Parliament at a time when the Congress was in power and the BJP was in opposition. Hangama tab bhi hota tha. They also used to heckle and argue. But I think that's a part of Parliament. I mean, it's a part of Parliament where you shout slogans, you come up for a well of the house. We may disagree whether it's the correct thing to do or not, but it used to happen then. It happens now also. But now I find it a little bit more condescending and all the time personal attacks bhi hona shuru ho gaya hai inside Parliament, which never used to happen earlier. I still think that when the Prime Minister speaks, he doesn't belong to one political party. He is our country's Prime Minister. And whether it was Dr. Manmohan Singh earlier and whether it's Prime Minister Modi now, we should have allowed him to speak and at least listen to what he was saying. And it was very clear he was talking about the motion of thanks to the President's speech. It was not about the Adani issue or anything of that sort. So you can criticize the government for not wanting to have a discussion on that. That's a different thing. But you cannot ever tell. He's the prime minister of a country, so we should listen to him. We can disagree, but you do respect that chair.
I
Yeah,
have to say, Biswaroop Ghosh has become our first member ever, and I'm just
Dekho,
very
Bengalis,
impressed.
Advaita,
It's a
are
Ghosh.
always with you.
Pallavi, it's a Ghosh. Yeah,
Yeah, Ghosh
amazing.
and
Go
Bengalis
ahead.
are always with you.
Thank you, Biswaroop.
and my question again is towards Advaita ji.
LGBT
So
ally.
are you
Sorry.
coming up with any script like Kahani, or you're trying
No,
something different?
Tell me also, I want to know.
so
Yeah,
okay,
the
I have
nation wants to
contributed.
know.
The
Nation
nation
wants to
wants to
know.
know. I think part of the reason why I'm not getting work in Bollywood is because I'm on the nation wants to know too much. But on a serious note, I mean, it is tough when you're identified as right of the spectrum, whatever that means. But there's a film I've contributed to. It's called Niyat with Vidya Balan. So that is going to come out sometime this year. Oh my God. Look who's here.
Oh God.
And
Advaita, I want to ask you a question. So when you wrote Kahani, were you told it could be Vidya Balan or were you happy
yes,
when you were told?
yes.
Because I
No,
really
no,
think she was awesome. I
I,
want to
I
know.
was told.
And Mr. Mama, this is disgusting behavior, Bijit. I wish you
Yeah.
knew what people are talking about you, right, when you were not here. ये तो
Oh.
बताएंगे आपको. Yeah, but Advaita, please answer this
Oh,
question.
देखो आज मेरा I was meant to have this thing with Deepika on this thing. What on?
So you dumped, na?
I did
She
not
dumped
dump.
him.
This Advaita cancelled first. First she said 8:30 ko change karo. Then I came online at 8:30. There was nobody waiting there, and I get a message saying it's cancelled.
Why are you sleeping? Please sit.
I'm not sleeping. I was playing with my doggy.
So you're lying down
It's,
now. अच्छा
Yeah.
Advaita, answer this question. ये तो ऐसे बोलता रहेगा. हाँ. Then, so did you know it's
no,
going to be Vidya Balan? Did you keep her in mind
I
when you were
knew it
writing
was.
the
I
script?
knew it was going to be. I knew it was going to be Vidya Balan because I was.
Hi,
The original. Hi
how
Satya.
are you?
The The original idea was that it was going to be a rom-com, like that was the original where she signed up for with Ritesh Deshmukh, and they were going to do some radio station sort of rom-com. And I was like, oh, that's totally not my beat, right? Because of the non-existence of romance in my life for decades. Stop it, AIM. And, and so I said, I need
He's
something
jealous.
more
He's
exciting.
jealous.
He's jealous, yeah. So then I said, yeah, so then
AIM.
I have
think
to
of a
say, I'm
let
much
me
prettier
No,
than
no,
Vidya
AIM,
Balan.
let me tell you, AIM, let
So
me
we
tell you,
actually have a
all the
Bengali
guests
majority
who've
now.
joined us,
Again.
no, no,
always.
AIM,
See,
of
I'm
all the
prettier than
guests who
Vidya
joined us
Balan,
in the
and
last
I think
half
I
an
should have been
hour,
the heroine in that, okay?
no, please, I wouldn't have watched
I
the
think
movie.
it's first time I met Vidya
AIM,
was at the wedding, and I was observing her, and I told her, I said, please don't think it's weird that I'm staring at you, but I just need to understand you and your body language, and she carries herself like a dancer. Interestingly,
really?
Imagine if
अच्छा
AI will be singing
AIM,
Chori to Dakshone Kyo Na Aaye.
oh God, please, he
And
yeah.
does sing that, okay. अच्छा
Jodi
AIM,
to
let me tell you,
Dakshuna ke ashe tabe akla chalo re. Akla chalo, akla chalo, akla chalo re.
Advaita, it was part of your script, right?
The
AIM,
song,
in the
uh,
last half hour,
no,
Yes.
not that part.
Of
Not
course, that
hour,
was the
AIM, we've
because
been
where
having a
Amitabh
lot of
Bachchan does
guests.
the whole.
No,
None
I
of them
mean,
have liked
there were
you.
no songs. There were no songs. It was like the
It
theme
was the
song, so
epilogue,
to speak.
but it was a
Yeah,
lovely
because
narration. I got to say it.
thank you so much, Satya. And you were sending me a message also inside, very interesting. Do you want to share it publicly or not
So,
really?
so this goes back to a couple of weeks. I think AIM knows about this. So I had actually, you guys were talking about the whole LGBT ally group, etc. So I said, because you guys are so cool, you guys should be officially be called as the fag hags of Bombay, of India, which is technically a very endearing term. If you remember, AIM, I sent you the screenshot. Twitter banned me or sent me a warning actually, saying that
What
you
are you
can't use
saying?
Yes.
that. Yes.
Yeah, because you use
What
the
the
term
hell?
fag hag, right? So you
It's
can't use the
actually
term
a
fag hag.
endearing term.
But that's a very
It's not a,
affectionate term.
it's a very
See,
affectionate. You call your best friend that.
Yeah.
I know that. I know. I mean, I'm very familiar with it. And
That's because
and
that's
whenever
because
I
you're
was
the biggest
called
fag
that,
hag around.
no, listen, yeah. Whenever I was called a fag hag, I used to always say, "I'm no hag, and my friends certainly aren't fags." But that was just like doing my thing back in the day when I had a thing to do. Not anymore. Now I can go with hag, so it's okay. But
No,
on
no,
a
no.
serious,
That doesn't work.
You have to write a script where I can be the hero.
You can't.
Why?
There's no such script which can be written where you can be the hero.
See, such
maybe you can
blatant
be you
homophobia.
can be an
This
assassin.
channel
Like
is
a
homophobic,
assassin.
and prime anchor of news CNN News 18 under the Ambani tyranny has targeted me for my homosexuality and engaged in a vitriolic homosexual attack
So,
against me.
So the placard
Ambani
leke chalo next
homophobic,
Friday.
Reliance homophobic, News 18 homophobic, Pallavi sabse badi homophobic. Shocking.
in the last
Shocking.
32 minutes,
This
Nayan,
anonymous
they
is
are
sending me
actually
private.
guests who are saying that you really treat me and Advaita very badly.
Who, me?
Okay, there
I
anonymous
treat
Yeah.
is appointed.
well.
Believe me, let me assure you, Abhijit is very soft on you guys. People are
Yeah.
much more brutal. I can assure you that.
Yes. Thank you, Satya.
Yeah. And
Are
Okay.
you guys friends?
I
I'm
think
By
you
telling
got
you,
Satya.
you
I
have
think
to
they
know
are
how much
friends.
we can almost get attempt to be
I think this
cancelled
is a
for being
plant.
center right.
I think he's a plant. I think Satya is your plant over
I
here.
think
No,
it's
no,
a
no.
plant.
I'm
Yeah.
a fan. I've been following all your stories forever.
अच्छा where's anonymous? उसको क्यों चुप करा दिया बोलो?
Anonymous,
I
अपना
find
चेहरा दिखाओ.
I find it very funny, like when I mean, I've known the gays forever. I always say, that I so
Hello,
much of.
ma'am. Hello, Pallavi, ma'am.
Ah,
Hello,
hi,
Hi.
Anna.
hello, Abhijit.
Come. You had a question?
Yeah, I had a question for Pallavi. Like, आपने कहा था कि प्रियंका गांधी कांग्रेस के लिए बहुत ज़्यादा ऐसा वैसा था कि लेकिन उन्होंने उन पे ऐसा है क्या पॉलिटिकल टर्म्स में कि वो कुछ कांग्रेस का कुछ ऐसा काया पलट कर सकती हैं इधर से उधर कुछ
Well, यूपी में तो नहीं कर पाई but
नहीं,
मुझे
लेकिन कहीं
तो
पर भी ऐसा
well,
उन्होंने
मतलब
किया क्या है?
बहुत लोग कहते हैं कि हिमाचल में उसने किया बट देखो आई थिंक वो करिश्मा तो है उसका कनेक्ट तो है थोड़ा बहुत क्राउड के साथ शी इज अ
कि वो
बेटर
इंदिरा गांधी जैसी दिखती हैं, बस यही।
बट वो दिखने के चलते तो कितना उन्होंने यूज किया था ये लॉजिक इन उत्तर प्रदेश ना, वो काम तो नहीं आया ना. पीपल डोंट वोट लाइक दैट एनी मोर कि आपका शक्ल इससे मिलता है इसलिए हम आपको वोट दें. यू ऑल्सो हैव टू हैव अ पार्टी विच इज स्ट्रॉन्ग एंड समथिंग मोर यू हैव टू ऑफर. बट अगर आप उसकी तुलना राहुल गांधी के साथ करें तो मैं उसको ज्यादा पोलिटिकली मैच्योर मानती हूँ. वो इसलिए वो समझती है कि कैसे मीडिया के साथ खेलना है, कैसे हमसे इंटरेक्ट करना है, कैमरा के सामने ऐसे करना है. वो बोलती ज्यादा अच्छा है, इम्प्रॉम्प्टू स्पीकर ज्यादा अच्छा है. वो अपने पार्टी को उतना मुश्किल में नहीं डालती जितना राहुल गांधी अक्सर डालते हैं. बट एट द एंड ऑफ द डे यू हैव टू विन इलेक्शंस ना. If you win elections, then only can you be called successful. She has not been able to win elections for Congress party. I mean, उत्तर प्रदेश में तो बिल्कुल ही नहीं. हिमाचल में मैं उनको सब क्रेडिट नहीं दूंगी, बहुत सारे फैक्टर्स थे, बट क्या.
Does she
But
actually
also,
answer questions unlike Rahul, who diverts it?
She answers. She's very savvy. So,
So
she loves
yeah,
to talk, and she understands that during elections, you have to give tic tacs, you have to stop, you have to give sound bites, and not be rude. She'll never call you Godi. She will never be rude.
so क्या मैम कांग्रेस पार्टी राहुल गांधी को पीएम कैंडिडेट के लिए चाहती है, मतलब सीरियसली?
चाहती तो पता नहीं कितना चाहती है. कुछ लोग तो चाहते हैं, कुछ लोग नहीं
तो
चाहते हैं. बट आई डोंट थिंक
2024 में
ऑफिशियली. नहीं, आई डोंट थिंक दे गोइंग टू नेम हिम.
listen, Pallavi,
मतलब
I mean,
डायरेक्टली तो
I don't want to be harsh, but Priyanka Gandhi Vadra usually shines when compared to Rahul Gandhi.
Yeah, that's what I said, na.
You know,
That's what I
अगर
said. In
उसके
comparison
आगे
to
if
Rahul
you
Gandhi.
compare her, हाँ, if उसके आगे if you compare her to other politicians, then she doesn't come off as much
Yeah, that's
as
what I
well.
said. If you're
She
talking in
does
comparison
compared
to
to her
Rahul
brother.
Gandhi, she's much, much better in terms of communication and all, and landing her party into less of a trouble. But if you look at an India perspective and in comparison to other even women politicians, somehow she doesn't now come across as firebrand. Now she looks like very contrived and I'm trying to be different and trying to be a very aggressive woman. It didn't work. But she's not rude to the media. As a reporter, I can say this, that I'm not scared of attending a press conference or soundbite. She understands that you need to communicate. That way, she has mastered the art in comparison to her brother, who's very rude, condescending, and like, oh, you're Godi media, you're this, you're that. She
But
doesn't know.
Pallavi, may I ask? We saw Priyanka snapping a couple of times in the UP elections, right?
Yeah, but snapping at whom?
I mean, I think at the audience, I think there was about that whole bikini penegi kind of that comment came. Remember, there was that.
What? Me, I missed this.
Yeah.
This was during
Someone said that.
on hijab.
The burqa
Like
controversy.
they said when the hijab controversy was going on.
Oh, I didn't know this. Okay, I missed this.
Yeah, I mean, I think
अच्छा,
there was a press conference and she was asked. She said, "लड़कियां जो भी पहनना चाहे कहीं भी पहन सकती है. शायद वो बिकिनी भी पहनना चाहे बिकिनी पहन सकती है. जैसे स्कूल में बिकिनी पहनी and then she snapped back at them.
Oh, okay.
You remember
No,
that
but I
conversation?
but I also think there was some picture of some actor also wearing a bikini and some in that connection में उसने भी यही बोला. She linked all of it together. उन दिनों कुछ हुआ था controversy. So I support her on this. इसमें तो, I mean, come on. I mean, it's up to
No, I
us
mean,
what you want to wear, right?
I think that's very. I mean, what person has the option to wear whatever they want. The only thing is in
Saurabh
school, I
Pandey wants
believe
to talk about
uniform is
cars.
something. Yeah.
I know. Let's talk about cars. Actually, there are more people wanting to come on. So what I'm doing is I'm moving people
Okay.
out once.
Okay, so I'm going to log off. But
Take your time.
Advaita and Pallavi, great seeing you guys. I catch up with you all every Sunday. You guys are my Sunday
Dates.
my evening jam. Okay, take care. Keep the
So
good
where
vibes
do you
going.
base? Satya, where
And
are you
just so
from?
you know,
Where are you from?
Satya gives
I'm
me
actually a
talking
lawyer.
points on.
I work in media and entertainment, so I'm much closer to
Oh.
both of you all than you think.
So are you in Delhi or Bombay?
Mumbai.
Oh, so you should join us sometime on the show, yeah, when we want to talk about media and entertainment, etc.
Anytime. Sure.
Done.
Cheers.
So
Bye.
you can email advaitaoffice@gmail.com. So I have your. You're saying Abhijit has your details,
I've
right?
got
Yeah.
WhatsApp. No, I'll connect you on WhatsApp.
Yeah, since you're an Abhijit plant. Okay.
Yeah.
So rude. See, vitriolic homophobic attack by
Look at that.
on two homosexuals on the program. This is utterly
I
unacceptable.
know, look at this. You
After
take it
the-
up in
after the-
Delhi Pride. I will take it up in Mumbai Pride.
After
Yeah.
the bombs, the gays are taking over this channel. Yeah, this is a huge conspiracy.
Yeah,
Advaita,
and can you
hi,
just
hi. Advaita Kala, hi, hi. Advaita Kala, desh ki dushman.
Okay, I have to add Vinod because he's sitting in a
Hello.
car.
Bye,
Sorry,
guys.
he skipped a few lines. Bye, Satya. See you soon.
Bye.
But because he reminds me of Pallavi,
oh
you
wow.
must be here because of Pallavi because you're in a car, you know.
Am I
Wherever he's
audible?
gone. Go ahead, Vinod. And then, of
Am I
course,
audible?
yes, you are. Then we'll get to Kushal
Okay.
as soon as you're
All
done.
right. Super. All right. Thank you. Thank you for
I'm going to
having me
leave
over
in
here.
5 minutes. I'm hungry
All
also.
right. Big fan of everyone over here. Advaita, thank you so much for doing this. Abhijit, you're kind of the official name of Hindutva. I could say that. But
Oh, is
thank you
he?
again for spreading awareness. It's really great. I would say that I'm calling from
Abhijit, please
Austin,
sit
so
up.
I can say that from here you have
Yeah.
quite a bit of popularity. And my question to you, and I probably would ask everyone over here, is that human trafficking and drug trafficking, have these untold, unmanned toll roads, are they increasing because of that or are they decreasing?
Hmm, interesting.
Interesting.
Abhijit,
This
Abhijit,
sounds like an
respond.
Is human trafficking increasing because of?
The untold roads, no, the unmanned the toll collections that's happening.
He's talking
Look,
about like
it's
how movement is easier,
it's
right? Because no one's checking it.
Yes,
there's no
yes.
way in which an unmanned road. Uh, see the way people are smuggled is a whole set of regulatory issues. Okay, it's bad policing across the board. Uh, Toll points are just one way of catching, right? In fact, the only thing that a tolled thing can do, sorry, a manned toll booth can do, is last minute checks, right? But even those last minute checks depend on intelligence and things like that. You can't be going around checking every car, so on and so forth. Also, if for example, if they drug the women, there's always workarounds. You drug the women or drug whoever you're smuggling and put them between the floorboards and things like that, which Mexican drug cartels do. There's nothing you can do about it. So no, the solution to human smuggling is not a one point at toll roads. It's actually a system of system solutions of intelligence gathering, electronic monitoring, better policing, etc., etc., etc.
Okay, thank you. One last, Vijit. I do drive an X5. I know you've told that it's a shitty car. BMWs are shit. I'll just add one thing. It is a nice and fun car, but there's a lack of soul in it. Like you really can drive fast. It's a V6. It's got like 380 brake horsepower. You can drive fast. I'm going to deny that. It lacks the soul. It like when you turn, you don't feel it. I mean, you're going fast. It goes very easily at about 100 kilometers an hour, but it lacks that soul. What do you think? Is it something about the German engineering that, or is it just the roads that are
No,
really
so
bad?
I was always very happy with the performance. See, I had a BMW 530T,
Mhm.
and so it doesn't have the ground connect that say a 3 series would. The 3 series is the driver's car, right?
Mhm.
But I loved how smooth it was. BMW always has a much better suspension than, say, a Mercedes or an Audi or anything like that, right? Which is why even the Rolls Royce has a fantastic suspension. Even the shorter Rolls Royce has a great suspension because that's taken directly from the 7 Series. But the 7 and the 5 have fantastic suspensions. I don't think you go in for an X5 or a 5 Series or a 7 Series for soul. You go in for it for the comfort factor, the luxury factor, the removal of the soul. It separates you from the road, right?
I know. Yes,
So
yes.
it's if you wanted the soul and character, go in for the 3 Series.
That's right.
By the way, where are you calling from, Vinod? Because it's like daylight there.
Oh, I'm actually in Austin, Texas.
Texas.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
nice, nice.
But see,
AIM, you
Vinod,
can
that's
see his
so
car. He's
unfair
in his
because
car.
you will have very good servicing and things out there. Right? In India, BMW servicing is absolute nightmare. Okay, they do all kinds of fraud parts and fraud whatnot and this and that, all kinds of rubbish with their thing out here. Huh?
It's terrible over here, but it's not as terrible as in India, because
If
I
it's
got
terrible there, it's not worse here, basically.
yes, that's
Oh
exactly
God, so it's bad there also. Maybe it's good in Germany then. Not
no.
that I can afford a BMW, so
Even
I'm just
Germany is
piling
pretty
onto
bad.
this conversation.
I know.
But one day.
Yes.
Don't worry, Advaita. We'll buy you a moped.
Oh, not Vespa, Vespa. Those are
वो
cute.
तुम्हारे लिए थोड़ा अप मार्केट है, वो बजाज का खरीदेंगे, ठीक है?
ठीक है. Acha, Kushal, you're here. Go ahead, Kushal.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah,
Thank you.
hi, audible.
Oh, see you again soon.
Bye,
Yeah, can you
Vinod.
hear me? Can you
Thank
hear me?
Yeah,
हाँ
Kushal,
कुछ
we
बोलो बोलो.
Yeah, so I wanted to know कि हम लोग जब पॉलिटिशियंस जो रहते हैं टॉप लीडर्स वो ग्राउंड रियलिटी को कैसे मेजर करते हैं जो जो टॉप पे बैठा है उसको ग्राउंड का वो इंफॉर्मेशन सिस्टम कैसे जाता है जैसे मोदी जी को कैसे पता चलेगा कि ग्राउंड रियलिटीज क्या है उनका इंफॉर्मेशन उनको कहाँ से मिलती है क्या उसमें डेटा का काम मतलब जैसे हर एक पॉइंट ठेले पे सपोज हम लोग एक डेटा गैदरिंग मतलब टेक्नोलॉजी आ गई है ना यू कैन measure the sentiment analytics you can do right what how the people are feeling can you do your messaging that way I'm asking is there a possible application of suppose AI or machine learning to gather data or they or traditional systems are also how do they work that's I want what I wanted to know.
I don't know how to answer that. Sorry.
okay.
Arey
I
yaar,
will.
Abhijit, why are you showing off your house? Yeah, we don't want to see it.
अरे, I wanted to get myself some Coke and cigarettes, yeah. Coca-Cola, not cocaine.
अरे बाप रे
Pepper
यार,
Zelensky.
why do you
But
do
I,
this?
but just to answer Kushal ka question, I mean, Advaita, of course, the point is that a politician knows that and should know that, right? When he meets people, when he connects to the ground, when he go on campaign, that's what a sign of a good politician is. You should be knowing ki log kya chahte hain.
So is
Apart
it
from that, you
extinct?
also have a team. No, it's not extinct. Why you do have politicians who are very connected to the ground and they are quite successful in that. But of course, everyone also gets a feedback system. Na? They have their own council, they have their own advisors. कुछ party के लोग होते हैं. Some people talk to, you know, celebrities. No, not celebrity, but some to the media. पढ़ते हैं. They know what people want. But if I'm a politician, if I'm a politician, I go out and I meet people. Then I know now what is it that they're thinking, what is it that they want. That's the sign of a good politician. A failed politician is obviously someone who does not know what the people want. And that's why
Yeah,
they
and the
fail
other
and
thing.
lose elections.
Yeah, the other thing is also it's an ideological thing. It's a vichardhara thing. Part of the Sangh kind of vichardhara, and which is from which Prime Minister Modi comes, and of course BJP is the political offshoot of that, is a consultative approach. So they believe the whole system works very seamlessly. So you have your swamsevaks on the ground, your shakhas, your pracharaks on the ground. They are a great source of information at a very local level. So you will, for example, know what is happening in a particular village because there will be shakhas in villages. Those villages will have a pracharak who kind of interacts with them. That information is communicated on WhatsApp. I'm telling you from the Sangh Parivar perspective, and then
Is
that
it their full-time
escalates and
job?
a pracharak is a full timer. It's what's called a punkalik, which is a full timer. So Prime Minister Modi also comes from that tradition. He was also punkalik. He kind of gave up all life, worldly life, so to speak, and went into the service of the nation. So he's grown like this. So when he says that मैं गांव गांव घूम के आया हूँ, he's actually done that. You have to remember his political career was only the last 25 odd years. Prior to that, a good 30 years, he was a pracharak roaming the length and breadth of the country, cycle, train, auto, whatever, sleeping in villages, sleeping in temples. He was living that life. So there is a certain mechanism. And even with the BJP being a cadre-based party, they do have ground level intelligence and information that they get. So a lot of times you will find even the RSS will sometimes, some of their senior adhikaris will say something about the economy or about a certain issue. It's because they believe in this kind of commentary and consultation, and then airing that to provide a mirror of sorts, not only to the BJP but to the polity in general, whether the BJP is in power or not. And I feel, and this I'm going just from my knowledge of the ideology, I feel that Prime Minister Modi probably follows a very similar consultative part. So that's why I find it always very funny when these leftists and all say, oh, dictatorial and this and that. No, that's not how it works within this ecosystem. So I hope that answers the question to a certain extent.
Yeah, so what I wanted to know is how will Prashant Kishore is also doing something right in Bihar, going door to door, and so is that the way how you progress in a political career? You learn what people want to hear and then form a. So I just wanted to know how somebody starts in a because I am work in tech, so no connect to politics whatsoever. So Prashant Kishore is like data analyst, so we are relating to him. So that's.
I actually had an interaction with the data analyst last week, and I was chatting with him, and he was telling me, for example, say Tata Motors wants to open a showroom. So what they'll do is that they'll actually look at Google Maps, and they'll map the number of showrooms on particular streets in a given city or in a particular area, and then based on that, they'll even track the growth over the last couple of years, and then based on that, they will kind of suggest where Tata Motors should open a showroom. So yes, data can be used to pick up on burning issues. If you're looking, for example, at the road network, and you see good connectivity in all parts, and then there's this one area which doesn't have the right roads. So I mean, even without going on the ground, that these people are going to be cut up because the district next to them has great roads. So it can be used if someone wants to make that investment, and it should be used, I feel. And Professor is here also. Professor, we're having
Yeah,
you
who's called him? Who's called
I
him
called him
Professor La?
having you on,
Professor,
and I said, and he's wearing
we
red because it's Valentine's Day in 3 days. And as you know, Professor just got married 6 months ago, so he's the romantic
This
in the group.
is this is orange.
Professor.
It's
No.
not orange. It's red.
So see, that's the
This
thing.
is
You're a
orange, yeah.
wannabe Valentine also. You can't even
Congrats,
get the
Professor.
color right. But let me tell you one thing, Professor.
Bengali Valentine's Day.
People, Professor, people have noticed you on Twitter how you cackle and laugh at us.
Don't take us. She's telling
And they
this to
have
him.
noticed you.
I
And they
needed
have
an
noticed
apology.
you for making us cackle and laugh, yeah. You know, you think you're being profound when in fact you're not. अब क्या करे यार, you know.
Okay, we have another guest with us. Go ahead.
Hi, hi. Can
Hi.
you hear me? Okay, you can
Yeah,
hear
yeah,
me.
I
I
can
thought,
I,
hear you.
I have
I can
one.
hear you.
I have one interesting. Okay,
I'm
hi.
going.
Just can you see me?
Okay,
Before you
Bye-bye.
go,
go.
Pallavi, I have a question for Pallavi before she leaves.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
he has a question for you, Pallavi.
okay.
Stay.
I'll
For
answer your
every
question and
single
I'll
person
go.
on the panel. So first with Pallavi, it's going to be the least
Professor, no one wants to
interesting
talk to
question.
you.
No. So Pallavi, when is Rahul Gandhi's next workout video coming out so that at least he can contribute to the country via reducing obesity? That's one.
Thank
Then
God.
then the second question is to Advaita. When is she could write a script maybe about like urban India, because I think urban India, but for more from what people really care about, not the elite idea of what urban India cares about. And for Abhijit and Dipankarji, another question. This is about the lithium deposit we found in Jammu. The question is, does it make it more economically and politically viable to go search larger parts of Jammu and Kashmir for more deposits? Like right now, it is like just land that is just, it will take a lot of resources to go and basically to go and take it. But if lithium is viable there and you can find more deposits, may actually make it beneficial to even try to get that area. Thanks. All three of you, four of you, sorry.
Okay, so his workout video, we don't know, but he's definitely resuming his yatra from east to west. So you're going to most probably see all that there. But maybe Advaita, your next script should be on Rahul Gandhi. Ek tha
Yeah,
neta, jo chale
yeah.
yatra pe.
Maybe I should.
I'll play Rahul Gandhi.
You need hair
Maybe.
for that, okay?
Hey, it doesn't
You-
matter.
Rahul Gandhi
Do
does
you have
have.
the je ne sais quoi that Rahul Gandhi has, Abhijit? That's the question.
Yeah, I wear a wig and I'll grow a beard. Don't worry. I saw I was having dinner at the Lodi tonight and he walked past
What
to the gym.
nonsense, yeah.
The
Yeah.
Lodi Hotel.
हाँ और कहाँ? He works out at the Lodi.
Acha, haan.
हाँ.
Okay, the gym.
Look, these are people in the know where he works out. You know, people like us have to, hang around for
So that
snippets
you
like
guys
this.
can
Yeah.
make the workout video model,
Acha.
right?
So Abhijit doesn't work out at all, as you can make out from him.
Dinner. I don't go anywhere near the gym. Okay. I was only having dinner at the courtyard out there. And the sad thing was, we were talking really loudly about the Bharat Jodo Yatra when Rahul passed by. I was,
And I'm
Arey.
sure it was complimentary.
it was anything but complimentary.
Do you think he watches the Sunday Club, Pallavi? So he knows this is
I
a
don't
known.
know, but I'm sure his people do.
No, he's got a lot of female fans. He may like make his popularity even more if he does a workout video. That's my question.
Look,
Female fans also
those
possibly.
didn't make it more popular, did they?
Hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
bye guys.
Bye.
Okay,
Bye
bye,
bye Pallavi.
Pallavi. Bye
And
bye.
about the lithium question, yeah.
Yeah, lithium.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Can I go in that first?
Yeah,
Sure.
sure, Professor.
Okay. The fact that this lithium in Jammu and Kashmir is not surprising. It's been known for quite some time, and I'm told this report is actually quite old. It's not a recent report. It's quite an old report. You see, prior to 2019, under Article 370 and the Constitution of that state, mineral resources belonged to Jammu and Kashmir. But because it was a misgoverned state, although there's supposed to be lithium, sapphire deposits in places like Pada, and other minerals in Jammu Kashmir as well, the state government never had the urge to actually go prospecting for these deposits and giving these concessions to somebody, because you had a very generous central government giving so much largesse that the state never felt the need to do so.
Right.
Now it's a different matter altogether. There's been a change in the setup. It's a union territory. Even if it's a state, it's the center who will decide what to do with the mining leases or not. The state or the union territory will just get a royalty, which is agreed upon by all states or union territories. Now it's early days yet. The deposits are supposed to be pretty large. I mean, 5.9 million tons,
Right.
I'm told. And it's in a district in Jammu province. It's a district called Riasi. Now, Riasi is a pretty hilly district, actually. It's not a plain district, it's a pretty hilly district. But I would imagine if it's something as costly and valuable as lithium, there would be mining techniques which, in a sense, companies would employ to take it out. But this is early days yet. Let us find out what it is all about. People are talking about it a lot. Let's find out what it is all about. And if there are proven deposits, it will be a great thing for the country.
Yeah, but
And
Abhijit,
Abhijit,
has
since this is economically, if it becomes economically viable, does it also become militarily and politically viable to actually put effort into getting that piece back? That's my question. I mean, further into Jammu and Kashmir.
First of all, I want, I'm not even going to answer that question. You know why? Because I have huge doubts about anything mineralogical that comes out of India.
Okay.
We used to notice this, that every time there was talk of sanctions or some kind of call by the Federation of American Scientists to put curbs on exports to India or whatever, and we could actually time this. Within 2 weeks, a newspaper report would come out saying concentrated uranium deposits found somewhere. Okay, and this used to work like clockwork. The moment the Federation of American Scientists or Non-Proliferation said something about India, within 2 weeks, you knew that an article like this was coming out. Okay, now, is it any coincidence that the head of the Ukrainian parliament asked for sanctions against India, and literally within 5 to 7 days, a thing has come out saying, oh, lithium. First, I want to see serious geological reports. I've seen a report. I have not seen serious geological reports. Remember, there is thorium in the sands of Kerala, the monazite sands of Kerala.
Right.
Yeah.
But they are unextractable. And they've been destroyed completely. You know how many foreign mining companies have gone there, removed so much of that soil, it's not even funny. We haven't even looked after that sand. If at all.
So you're saying government incompetence may actually destroy even before even start, may become like
First, no. First, I have a big question mark. Is there lithium?
Mm.
I want to see a geological report, not a newspaper report.
Right.
I don't think any geologist worth his salt. Remember, all the discoveries, quote unquote, of uranium in India were newspaper reports. No geologist worth his salt would ever want to associate his name with that report, क्योंकि उसका career ही बर्बाद हो जाएगा उसके बाद. ठीक है ना? I want to see a geological report.
Okay.
For
Okay.
now, I do not believe lithium exists here till I see the geological report.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, maybe this is also related to the Jammu and Kashmir thing. What about the Indus Water Treaty? Like, do you think India is going to change why they have
No.
said that they're going to change? Are they going to change the
No,
rules
they're not.
and
Because
make?
see, a lot of Indians, what they do is they think it's an India-Pakistan thing. India has to be an exemplary party in this because we don't want China going berserk at us.
Mhm.
Not China accounts for much of the catchment area. You know,
Right.
90 to 98% of the catchment actually happens in India. The thing is, the summer flows from Tibet recharge the aquifers.
Correct.
Okay. But even there, I think the general thing, if you've noticed, is India is quite happy to cede sovereignty to international bodies on certain issues. And I don't think India believes in the weaponization of water. Right. And it's a good thing. It's a good thing we don't believe in the weaponization of water. We shouldn't. Okay. There's nothing much China can do to us on this score as I see it, but uh, I genuinely believe that India will not precipitate or provoke any action on this.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Can I
Yeah,
come in on
Deepankar.
this?
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
Please.
Look, when it comes to the Indus Water Treaty, the Indus Water Treaty was signed 6 decades ago, over 6 decades ago. At that particular point in time, technology know-how was something. Today, it is something else. Today, India believes with the advent of technology, this particular agreed upon usage could be improved upon better to the betterment of both sides.
Hmm.
To the betterment of both sides.
A win-win per
And
se.
it's a win-win per se. So, for example, it's not as if we want to get more water from the Indus Water Treaty, but there are certain things, there are certain impediments in this particular treaty which prevents us from, say, extracting more electricity from the flow of waters than we currently are. However, for reasons which are possibly not very unreasonable, Pakistan has a tendency to demur whenever India proposes a change in this particular treaty. And for a long time, India went by it. You talk to the people who have basically been part of these commissions, people from the NHPC, people from the diplomat, the administrative services, our commissioners, and it turns out that many of these fears that Pakistan expresses are sometimes absurd. They believe that we could actually flood their downstream, and that will happen if we were to release all the waters in our catchment areas at the same time. And there's not
Correct.
much of catchment. We can't do pondage out there because we have to let water flow free. And
Exactly.
our hydro projects are all run of the water projects. So there are certain problems with the manner in which you utilize the Indus waters, where India feels we could do better and Pakistan not be harmed. For a long time, Pakistan has resisted this. Now, what India has done is basically told them, look, this is what we are planning to do. Now, if Pakistan has a particular problem, it will basically approach international bodies. It will actually try to specify what its objections are. These specification of objections are done in private to India. We will once and for all know what their problems are with respect to the changes proposed by India in this treaty. The problem also is India cannot act unilaterally when it comes to the Indus Water Treaty. Whatever it does has to be agreed upon by both sides. And of course, if there is disagreement, it will go to arbitrators. I think now India is pressing the issue, it wants to go to the arbitrators. For a long time, when it came to height of our dams, it was Pakistan who would take us to the arbitrators. We now want to push them so that We go to the arbitrators and their objections to what we are doing are placed before the arbitrators for their judgment. I believe what we will do will be in accordance with the letter and spirit of this particular treaty, and I think we will have our way.
Okay, now we have Prajwal, and just
Hi,
quickly, I'm trying to get as many people on, so whoever comes, ask your question, then I'll have to move you out because I think StreamYard only allows 10
Uh,
people and it's getting
Good
late
evening,
now.
everyone. Hi, Abhijit sir. Hi, Abhijit sir. Huge fan. I just wanted to ask you a question about this Khalistani movement that resurging in Chandigarh. What's your opinion about that?
Ask me something specific. No, obviously it's an anti-national thing which I
Yeah,
hate. My opinion of it, but
no, sir. That yesterday in Twitter, you just saw the video of that Nihang's riding horse and riding straight into the police, and police have just, they're escaping from them. They are not attacking. I mean, they are being
but
not
you
acting
tell
present.
me,
Just they are running away.
even during do you remember what happened at the Red Fort on
Yeah, yeah,
Republic
yeah,
Day
sir.
or last
Yeah,
Republic Day? Police भाग गई थी ना?
yeah. They, sir.
So, this is one of those things where, you need a district magistrate. The average policeman is not empowered to discharge firearms or things like that to protect themselves. The order to shoot can only be given by the district magistrate. It depends if the person is if the district collector is also the district magistrate there and things like that. But it is an order that has to be given from somewhere pretty high up, and that district magistrate will also be scared कि अगर लोग मर गए, if people die, will I be taken to court and this and that and all that nonsense and things like that, right? There are fundamental problems with the way governance is run. One of the things about police reform I've always been advocating is body cameras, because
Yeah,
body
yes,
cameras
like in
prevent
USA.
abuse by the police, but they also protect the police, right? And
Yeah,
it will allow you to delegate a much greater authority and place greater trust in your cops. Okay, so it has a lot more to do with the policing. That particular incident and incidents like that have more to do with policing than the Khalistan problem per se, because you'll see this with every civil disturbance in India, that this becomes a problem like this.
so, and one more question. Uh, what do you think about BJP? I mean, coming up elections in Karnataka. Do you think BJP is going to cross a 120 seat mark? Are they going to make a HD Kumaraswamy as a chief minister?
So I have more confidence in the BJP than the BJP seems to have in itself.
Okay.
Actually, I have more confidence in the Congress, that the Congress house is so divided
Yeah,
that BJP
even
will get past the halfway mark. So let me
yeah,
clarify. I have as much confidence in the Karnataka BJP as the central BJP has in the Karnataka BJP, which is very low. But I have more confidence than the central BJP in the Karnataka Congress to screw things up, especially between Siddaramaiah and DK
DK
Shivakumar, and
Shivakumar.
that fight that is going on between all of them. A lot of people are saying, oh, it's been sorted out. It has not been sorted out. Believe you me, it has not been sorted out. Publicly, they are not arguing, but in private, it is just as nasty as it's always been. Right?
Yeah,
So,
yes,
and remember, the thing really happens during the election. They will be, huggy kissy in public. In private, they will go out of their way to undercut each other in each other's constituencies. So I am counting on the Congress for the BJP to get past the halfway mark.
okay. Thank you, sir.
And there's also one point. You see, at this point in time, if you remember 2030, the BJP government is a better shape today than it was in 2013. In 2013, the BJP government was in a bloody mess. And of course, and it was they who broke up into two parties, KJP and BJP, and basically were absolutely decimated.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Can I come in?
Please go ahead.
Hi. First of all, thank you for giving me this opportunity. I'm a big fan of Abhijit, sir. 2-point question.
Yeah, sure.
My
But ask me one at a time, please.
Roger.
Roger. So my first question is the upcoming Aero India 2023. The United States Air Force is bringing up the F-35. The Russians are bringing up the Su-57, which is again the FGA project which got cancelled. Now, there's a lot of hints that is going on saying that the AMAC is obviously going to take a huge lot of time before the India's 5.5 generation comes out, or if may or may not. The question here is, do you think it's the right thing for the Indian Air Force or the Department of Defense in India to go ahead with the F-35 program if been offered, considering the strain from US in technology transfer and other aspects?
No, I don't think either the Sukhoi 57 or the Sukhoi 75 or the Sukhoi 75 less so, or the F-35 are suited for India. See, the F-35, understand, it is a system of systems. Okay, so the F-35, think of it this as a surgeon. Okay, the F-35 is the doctor.
Okay.
Okay, he depends on the physician to have first carried out the correct diagnosis. He further depends on the X-ray person or the ultrasound person or the MRI scan person to have done a correct analysis. Do you remember when Sri Devi's mother went to America for brain surgery? The doctor operated on the wrong side of the brain. Do you remember that? That was about 20 years back.
No.
Right? Yeah, so that happened apparently. And then you depend on the anesthetist to do his job properly. You depend on the nurse to be providing the suction of the blood and the suppression of bleeding and things like that properly. You are depending on the people to mark the thing correctly, etc., etc. So the surgeon depends on everybody else to do things properly, right? And then there might be unknown complications once you cut open the patient.
All
Okay.
right.
So have they even done a holistic job in the diagnosis? The F-35 does that after you have excellent intelligence, after you have a whole set of compatible radars and this and that feeding data constantly. You know, the F-35, its weapons carriage isn't much. It just carries, in maximum, it carries 4 air-to-air missiles in internal carriage, right?
Correct.
It works. Its entire thing is intel surveillance reconnaissance. So you have to have a whole interconnected complex sitting and doing things simultaneously. To this day, the Russians are not able to intercept the tanks and armored personnel carriers and ammunition being sent in from the west at the border with Romania, at the border with Hungary, at the border with Poland. On the other hand, you look at the way the Israelis, their intelligence tells them exactly when Iran is shipping something to Syria, and they bomb it on the spot. They know when Hezbollah is shifting arms, they bomb it on the spot. Okay, so there is a whole infrastructure, a mindset, a communications ecosystem that goes with an F-35. You have to invest, for every F-35 that you buy, you have to invest something like 10 to 15 times the amount on these supporting radars and things, because your Russian radars, your older radars, they're not going to talk to the F-35. Right? So it's a huge investment. It's not suited to us. The Sukhoi 57 is absolute shit. Okay, it is extremely crude, obsolete metallurgy. It is the Russians are so bad, they can't even offset the engines to the air intakes, which is the worst thing for stealth, because the engines are what reflect radar waves right back at you.
You're talking about the serpentine intakes.
Yeah, so it doesn't have serpentine intakes. You can literally see the engine from the inside. They've put some kind of an engine blocker like the F-18, but that doesn't reduce things much. On the other hand, you look at the S curve of the YF-23 or the F-22, it is incredible. And to this day, you know that air intake it's total voodoo. I've still not been able to understand the science of air intake.
My one more part of the question is, I'm actually an aeronautical engineer. So I worked for Northrop Grumman in US and came back to India last 6 years back.
Okay.
Now, this is something very tricky question. I wanted to know your inputs in this. The reason I came back to India is to start an aviation company, actually, to be very honest with you.
Mm.
But what happened is that time the DRDO Abdul Kalam competition was going on, where DRDO was posting and inviting a lot of startups.
Mm.
So our team, we actually developed a, miniature version of a stealth aircraft, because the knowledge that I gained from Northrop, and I was able to transfer that knowledge in certain level here. And there was one person from Northrop itself who was actual American, who had also joined in the hand to help me develop it. What happened was, there was a lot of do you think there's a lot of bureaucrat in DRDO, that they select particular projects and shave off the startups? Because I had been, well, we
Yes.
submitted all the documents and everything. Then we even did the CFD analysis and told them that the radar cross section is way too smaller, but
Do
they
you
never
know?
selected us.
Do you know Aviation Design MG? How many people
But
I
sorry
know?
to interrupt you. My name is Mikhail, by the way. Sorry to just.
Oh, Mikhail. Okay, Mikhail. Gorbachev?
No, it's Mikhail Gururaj.
Okay, Mikhail Guru. Send me an email. We'll talk about this. I'm Abhijit Iyer Mitra, all one word, at gmail.com.
Sure, sir.
But do you know how many people I have mentored in India who have come out with outstanding products which have been undercut or screwed over by the DRDO, by the military, and things like that? I've gotten to the stage where I just tell them, Dekho, I will connect you with everybody in the military. I connect them. I know they're going to get screwed over. I tell them. And they're all very doughy-eyed. Nahi, 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 we are patriotic Indians. We want to help the country, this and that. I'm like, ha, beta, bhugto, wait. Wait for 2-3 years and then you come back to me. 2-3 years, they come back to me and I immediately put them in touch with BAE or Lockheed Martin or something like that. They get contracts like that.
Wow.
Hmm.
Right. So that,
So,
yeah. Good.
uh, so right now, how old are you, Mikhail?
I'm 30 years old.
Okay, that you're still very young. So I'd suggest till you're 40, focus on making money. Okay,
Well, that's
and
what I'm doing so far.
yeah, and when you reach 60, then you think about patriotism in India. Okay.
Well,
You
that's
start thinking about patriotism in India, I can assure you, you will be out on the streets in no time. Do not eat
that.
up your finances or your parents' finances. Don't do that. Focus on making money right now. Join Airbus or go back to Northrop Grumman or something like that. It is a fool's errand working for the DRDO trying to get these military contracts. It is not worth your time and effort.
Right. Actually, that's been very honest with you. I created a prototype. It's in my living hall. I will send you the photo. I'll send you the mail. You can
Yeah.
have a check out of it. And also, are you coming to the air show, by the way?
No, boss. I've been to the air show once, never again. Thank you very much.
All right. All right.
Important things to do in life than see some facile, useless uh, public display of small dick syndrome.
Hello.
Advaita, you're on mute.
Oh, yes. Hetal, go ahead.
Go ahead, I'll go
Yeah.
ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. First of all, this is like surreal for me because I watch you guys all the time. So thanks for the opportunity. And my question is, addressed to everybody. Like, I've right now I'm in India visiting my family, but I live in Netherlands. And when I compare the politics of the two places, or let's say the wider European continent, there is a huge variety of like centrist parties, center left, center right, far left, far right. Has there ever been something like this in India, uh, at least from the point of view of being centrist? And are there any green shoots? I mean, I don't know a lot about it, but I've never I've seen a lot of your Sham Sharma shows and all the Sunday clubs, but I've never seen anybody really discussing about it because I feel most of the people in the world lie in center, and in India there is no true centrist party I've ever seen. And if it is not, I mean, That's my question.
Do you want to
Professor?
take?
Yeah, Professor can take
Look,
that.
I mean, to type slot Indian politics into center, right, etc., would be foolhardy. Look, if you look at Western democracies, all Western democracies take certain things as common. For example, for a long time, especially after the Second World War, no Western European economy or the American economy or the Canadian economy had a license permit Raj. So whether you were a social democrat or whether you were a conservative, Christian conservative, everybody believed in the market system. Yes, the social democrats would have a greater role for the government when it came to social programs, greater control over the economy, and so on and so forth. The Christian conservatives would have less so. But nonetheless, there was a consensus. The market operated. In our country, you had a license permit Raj all the way till 1991. Okay. And except for the Swatantra Party and the BJP and the Bharatiya Janata Sangh, every other party basically supported this. Now, a lot of people would call the Congress party a centrist party, although the Congress party itself used to call itself a socialist party. After all, remember,
Yeah.
the word socialism in the constitution was introduced by the Congress party. So these typecasting does not necessarily work in the Indian context as they do in the Western context. In the Western context, for a long time, right also meant religious right, also the market right. Of course, these things started to disintegrate after some time because in Netherlands, you have a person who is extremely right,
Yeah.
but we don't know what his economics are. Okay,
Yeah. Wilders
also, but
people.
that's also been a result of political correctness, where Christian conservatives also has been sucked into a lot of these tropes that social democrats or the extreme left basically fed the system in, and as a result of which you are able to get Wilders into this thing. Remember, the salience of the British Nationalist Party in the United Kingdom was actually completely taken away by Margaret Thatcher. Margaret Thatcher was so forthright in her views without being racist. Her economics was so different from the left that she was able to establish the Conservative Party of Great Britain as something representing a conservative party. So what happened was many of these things that the British Nationalist Party would, the constituency they would try to cater for. Many of the people who were not racist, they were no nonsense type. They saw Margaret Thatcher, they admired her, and they joined her. That is something that I think Western Europe, many Western European countries, in a sense, have not seen. There has been no Margaret Thatcher when it comes to conservative parties in Europe. The way, if they get it, and I'm not too sure they will get it, if they get it, many of these parties, Gert Wilders, etc., will get subsumed in that particular conservative party.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's not, it's a fool's
No.
errand to
So
typecast. Yeah.
Professor, my question is in that vein itself. Like,
right.
As you actually discussed right now, I do not classify any of the Indian parties anywhere in the right according to economics. None of them can be called from that point of view. So I completely agree with you on that. But my point is also from the point of view of, let's say, humanities or the, I'm not finding the word right now, but so social things, let's say.
Sociologically.
Sociological things. So even if we are accepting the Western definitions, BJP is like Hindutva and Congress is like crazy left liberal. Is there anywhere where the twain have met in the past?
I don't this is also a very I don't know, laziness, convenient, etc. Look, there was a time when even congressmen, I mean, forget Nehru, a lot of congressmen, especially in the Hindu heartland, were devout Hindus. Okay, they were devout Hindus. They privately they may have had their reservations about social, secularism, and so on and so forth, but they were certainly not woke. They were certainly not woke. The problem is, you see, the Congress made the Congress, in a sense, to get legitimacy. And as to why they had to do it, I don't know. Sometimes in the 60s and 70s, decided that they had to please the left, and in a sense, they handed over institutions in India to the left. One of our
Yeah.
prime example
I
is
mean, it
basically handing
shocks
over
me that,
education to Nurul
yeah, the
Hasan,
first
etc.,
thing.
etc. Yeah. And then you see, the problem with the leftists has been the liberals accepted Marxists in the university system out of, because no, they were large-hearted people. They could accommodate anybody, including Marxists. Marxists came in and they tried to remake institutions into their own image, whatever that image was. So what you have is a terrible disconnect, that in many elite institutions, the social science, the economics that is spouted, that is spouted, has nothing to do with reality. It never had anything to do with reality. And so you have extremely confused people coming out. You come in at an impressionable age, say, to an institution like JNU, and not just JNU, other institutions as well. And then you have this fashionable English speaking teacher who probably has a degree from Cambridge or JNU, for whatever matter. You want to impress this particular person. You want to impress, or you are impressed by your fellow students, and you are stuck into a particular ideology. 3 years down the line, that this is nonsense. But by which time, it's very difficult to get out. And when you do get out, you get out all confused. This, unfortunately, has been the tragedy of our institutions, especially the well-funded institutions. No, and by the way, what has happened is the following: it's also adversely affected the left. You know that Kabir Doha, Nindak niyare rakhiye, Angan kuti chhawai.
Yeah, because
If you
the
have
thing is,
if you have critics, it enables you hone your ideology better. Now, what they have done is basically to keep the entire system left. So the people who are challenging them, and by the way, challenging them very effectively, are often autodidacts. They are self-taught people in the social media who basically refute the contentions of many of these people by citing accurate sources. So what has happened? It's led to the demolition of the credibility of the leftist social scientists. But in the absence of a rigorous theoretical background in research methodology, etc., right wing or Indic thought, in a sense, has not processed in the way it should have. So this is a lose-lose situation for both parties. The left is not being able to reform itself, and the right is not being able to focus or put forth in ideas in a manner that is actually academic.
yeah,
And that, I
that's
think, is a big loss for the country, and it's
that's why
dangerous
I
for the
was
future.
asking Professor this question, because I'm sorry, Abhijit. I thought,
So, Hetal,
No, no,
see,
go ahead.
we did have parties like that. In fact, the Congress, where remember the British basically wanted to give us dominion status in the 1920s, because by 1919 India had stopped being self-financing. After that, the net flow of funds was from Britain to India. So
okay.
they wanted to give us dominion status after World War One. And for most of that period, the Congress boycotted government and wasn't even involved in most of the constitutional discussions and the discussions for self-rule and things like that. That was a party called the Swaraj Party, and there was one more party which I forget. In fact, Motilal Nehru left the Congress and joined that other party
Oh, I have
because he
not read
didn't
anything
support
about
this
this.
the guys being out of government for that long. And they were very centrist. The Swatantra Party was quite right wing, and because in those days the British actually educated people very well, uh, they were very clear about their economic concepts. You won't have JP Morgan vice presidents who don't know the basics of economics, fired JP Morgan vice presidents who talk about opposing patriarchy, who don't know the basics of economics,
Hashtag Harami.
in coming out of colleges in those days. The Swatantra Party knew exactly what they were talking about. They were very clear about it. And there was a wing. So if you read Tripur Daman Singh's 16 Stormy Days, you'll realize this. Sardar Patel and co, they accepted that you need a show of socialism every now and then, but they had deep doubts about socialism. Which is why land reforms in India were not land reforms, they were tenancy reforms. Never forget that. There was a very strong wing within the Congress that attempted to dilute those land reforms and things like that. Okay. Of course, 16 Stormy Days is about the First Amendment, but it also applied to the land reforms and things like that. And it is thanks to people like Sardar Patel, and that whole thing. They will tell you to mock Purushottam Das Tandon. I can tell you Purushottam Das Tandon knew more economics than Nehru ever did.
Nehru. Oh, yes.
Okay. And it was people like Purushottam Das Tandon who prevented India from becoming a Zimbabwe, where we would starve to death. Okay. Now, second part of this is why what Dipankar says is really important is because once the leftists get in, leftism is not about helping the people. Leftism is about capturing power. Okay. It's all about power, 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 power. So what ends up happening here is that you have, I can tell you, people like Jayati Ghosh, when Zimbabwe was melting down under Robert Mugabe, okay, when they were literally the Zimbabwean pound was going 1 million pounds to the dollar or something like that. She was sitting and telling her students in JNU, oh, you people are watching too much BBC. This is all propaganda. Zimbabwe is doing just fine. I don't kid you. Ask her students during that period, they'll tell you she actually said shit like this.
Okay, we've got to make the questions shorter and the answers
shorter. One second. You've had these people indoctrinate. We have not been able to, since the 1960s, 70s, when the communist leftists took over. We have not had education in Indian schools, in Indian colleges. We have had indoctrination. So that well of centrism and rightism that we had is completely, organically been destroyed in that sense.
Okay, so now we've got to keep the questions shorter, and you both need to tell me how long you can be on here because you've got a lot of people coming on. So I need to be able to. Yeah, we have to run. So we're going to now just run through this very quickly. We're not going to take more. So let's start with Swayam. Swayam, quickly ask your question, and then we can move you out. And
Yes, I want to ask that who is George Soros and how he is funding the Indian media for leftist propaganda?
Nice question. Go ahead, AIM. You want to take that, and then Professor.
Yeah.
But
I
short
don't know
answer.
to take that. I don't know who George Soros is.
Okay, but short answer.
Very short answer. He basically had a traumatic phase with the commies. He's a Hungarian Jew. The Jew part has nothing to do with it. The Hungarian part has a lot to do with it because he grew up under communist rule. His business strategy is very smart. He doesn't invest in companies unless there's a 98% risk of them collapsing. So he's an extremely high risk investor who heaps huge rewards when those risks pay off. Okay. The problem is he also believes in open societies to the point where he's become an ideologue, where he doesn't see that the same kind of open societies he's promoting have turned woke and actually suppressing free speech. He doesn't seem to realize because he ideologically opposes Soviet style whatever or Eastern Bloc style whatever. He doesn't realize that it's actually Eastern Bloc thinking in different forms that's come back in the name of political correctness and shit like that. Okay. He's a senile old man right now. I don't think he's particularly criminal. He's just beyond senility and his kids are really dumb fucks. There's nothing you can do about that.
Okay, Mayur, on to you.
Hi, happy to be with you. I'm your regular viewer from UK. My question is regarding reservation and to both AIM and Dipankar, whosoever is willing to answer. My question is, if reservation was supposed to be a project which is supposed to undo the social injustice which has happened in the past, should it not have a end date to it, like a project? Like if you are doing a social injustice programs? Should not there be a defined end date to it? Otherwise, it can just go on for forever. You know? And I'm sure no politician has got the guts or will to do it. But should it not be on the paper? There should be some end date to it. And a related question: should the reservation not be in schools instead of college? Because if you are trying to, do some good to the larger public, should you not do it on the foundational basis? Why do you want to do it on the first floor and the second floor instead of the foundation?
Since I'm going to run,
Very,
can I provide a quick answer and run?
yeah, go ahead, AIM.
Okay. So first, absolutely right. See, the problem in India is instead of focusing on primary education, we focused on secondary education. That was our first mistake. And it should have been done in schools, but it did not. Now, if you read Ambedkar also visualized time-based elimination of reservations under the belief that the economy would keep growing. See, the problem is we have got a set number of pizzas that the number of people keep growing, and so the size of the pizza becomes smaller. Each serving becomes smaller and smaller and smaller. He assumed that the Indian economy would grow. We would have many more pizzas to distribute, and so at some point when we became prosperous, there would be no need for reservation. But now, of course, the means has become the end by itself. Okay. So I will take your leave. Tata, bye.
Quickly, Malia Ban wants to ask you one question. AIM, then go.
Okay.
Abhijit, I
Well,
have a question. I'm really sorry you have to go, but can I please? I'm really sorry.
Okay.
I'm a big fan from Odisha.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So
Happy to
Abhijit,
jaldi answer.
uh, Abhijit, what's your thoughts on the new age gurus, the spirituality and the motivation which they spread in the internet? What do you believe? Do they actually do that to help people, or is just a good business model for them? Abhijit, can you hear me?
I can't hear you. I
Abhijit, can you hear me?
can't hear.
I
Okay.
think there's something
So
wrong with
my
this
question,
connection.
can you hear me now?
There are a lot of
I
background
think he's
static.
having some network issue.
Yeah, there's a lot of static. There's something gone wrong. Yeah, he's gone. Sorry, Aditya. Next time. Next time for sure.
But do you mind
Okay.
answering me? What's your thought on that? I don't mind getting your opinion or thoughts. Like, because I'm
No,
getting a
no.
lot of recommendations. My YouTube is just filled with that. So I don't want to name any specific so-called guru or spiritual leader, but it's very irritating. So what's your thought on that? Do you actually think that they are doing it to help people, or do you think that it's a good business model for them?
Professor, go ahead.
Look, there is no doubt that we are in a society that where there is a lot of hunger for spirituality, whether spirituality or comfort, whatever, there is a hunger. And if there is a hunger, there will be people who will step in. Now, that is one cynical way to look at it. Other is to say that there were always people who are giving, you could describe them as pravachans or basically sermons, whatever. Now those people have takers. And by the way, this is something that, people like Alvin Toffler also talked about. Technology makes it possible. So everybody has his or her niches. What was once a massive market, for example, the Catholic Church, for example, Hindu religion. So you have, given your internet, given telecommunications, it is possible, therefore, for you to find a guru who caters to exactly what you need to do, or you need. The hunger that you have, he satiates it. And the reverse
Yeah.
is also true. Technology makes it possible. So if I have a band of committed followers who listen to me all the time and who are willing to pay the teeth, you could call it teeth, call it whatever, it becomes a sustainable business model. Is it bad? I don't think so. Look, the question is the following: if it sustains, I get spiritual comfort or some sort of a comfort from the preachings of a particular person, and I have no problems paying it, and it enables this entire thing to chug along, so be it. So be it. If you look at a lot of these Western churches, and they have, my God, something of the something tabernacle, etc., etc., etc. What are these? These came even before the technology age. local churches who depended on local flock to finance them. Preachers in the 60s, 70s, 80s who got rich, the TV evangelicals. Today you have the internet, you have YouTube and evangelicals. So in that sense, it's not surprising. It was forecast, and I think it's okay. I have no problem with it.
Okay. What was the question Aditya wanted to ask?
Aditya was really asking about new age gurus. He says he keeps getting recommendations that join this one, follow this one. Do you think it's a business model or they actually
You find
helpful?
one you like, and Hinduism gives you the opportunity to cherry pick. You pick and choose. Nobody is 100% right. Okay. So it's like a Hinduism is like a thali. If you don't like the karela ki sabzi, eat the aloo ki sabzi. If you don't like the aloo ki sabzi, eat the lauki ki sabzi. If you don't like the lauki ki sabzi, eat the kaddu ki sabzi. If you don't like the chapati, eat the rice. Don't like the rice, eat the. So
May I ask my question?
yeah, Malabar, and then I've got
Malaban and then UK. Then we get to you, UK. Malaban?
Okay, hi Abhijit and hi everyone in the expert panel. So my just question is the question is like with the recent discovery of lithium in Jammu and Kashmir, how do you see it's affecting the potential of Jammu and Kashmir as a state and also the Union Territory of Ladakh? Because recently there was a protest going on in Ladakh, but that was a different issue altogether. But my question is largely regarding this lithium discovery in Jammu and Kashmir. And how will it will Pakistan get more aggressive? Will Pakistan and China get more aggressive after this because of all these new discoveries coming out
But we've
from the
already
region?
discussed this. We had quite a long session about this earlier, I think, before you joined. So if you play
Okay,
this
I
back,
guess.
you'll find answers there.
Okay, I guess
Maybe
I
I
missed
have
it.
to run now.
Okay, bye, Abhijit. Bye
Abhijit, I
bye.
have a question for you. I have
Jaldi,
been waiting.
the last question I'm going to take. Jaldi.
Yeah, UK has been trying to get on a lot and then his device was not working, so he's finally made it. Go ahead, UK.
So I have this question. So like the right wingers, some right wingers claim that the Muslim behavior pattern has a theological basis. Do you believe that? And second question is West Bengal out of control because of the increase in the population due to immigration and births? And third is the missionary activity in Punjab and Andhra Pradesh. Do you think it is a national security threat?
Okay, one by one, please. Question number one is Muslim behavior. No, I think Muslim behavior depends a lot on sociology. I don't believe in every religion will tell you to kill. Every religion will tell you to forgive. Okay, the question is how do you choose and how do you contextualize it? Okay, did you see riots in Saudi Arabia? Did you see riots in UAE when over the Nupur Sharma thing? No. They just diplomatic protests with chale gaye. But do you remember 15, 20 years back when, what was it, before the Yilan's Poston thing? There was something else that happened. They were all out on the streets. They have now become developed countries who don't have time to come out and protest on the streets and go about asking for kill, kill, kill. Okay. India is different. We're a pre-developed, pre-industrialization country where, so I believe in a sociological basis for it, not a theological basis for it. Okay. Part two of your question, UK.
Uh, the missionary activity Andhra Pradesh and Punjab. What do you think of it? And the West Bengal question. The
I
basically
don't
the
I don't know about Punjab because I haven't traveled there extensively. In Tamil Nadu and Andhra that I have seen, I can tell you it is profound. It is, I believe it has already changed a lot of the demographics, but because a lot of people want reservation benefits, they are crypto Christians. Uh, and it says a lot for me. It's a failure of Hinduism that Hindus failed to act in social terms, providing schools, hospitals, colleges, and other benefits. So it is very much, I don't blame them for doing what they did. That religion taught them. But we're not doing what we should be doing. Okay. And West Bengal, yes. See, West Bengal is a very unique case of, you see, not having first deindustrialized. Remember, Bengal had been totally industrialized by the British. The famines were a result of that industrialization, just like the Ukrainian famines were a result of Stalin's forced industrialization. It wasn't done out of the goodness of the British heart, it was done to meet war demand. Nehru did to Bengal what Kim Jong Un did to Korea. He completely deindustrialized an industrial state and destroyed it. And that is why you have Naxalism, Marxism coming out there. Today, it is a completely destroyed state, destitute people. It's a post industrial state, realistically speaking. And things get compounded because of migration and obvious resource competition. Okay, so tata, bye.
Bye. I am.
One last question.
Oh, he's gone. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's fine.
Renuka Charan Singh. Go ahead and ask your question. Maybe Professor can take it or I can take it, depending on what
Yeah,
it is.
sure. So my question was that there are reports floating that the Navy has chosen the marine variant of the Rafale over Super Hornet.
Oh, that
No,
is for
that's
AIM.
question. That's an
Yeah.
Abhijit question.
So
You will have to come back
yeah, sure,
next time.
sure. So
All right.
one more question related to economics. So you see a lot of these global investor summit coming up, and a lot of the states signing up a lot of MOUs. And how much do you think in the ground these MOUs come up?
And look, at the end of the day, the investment that flows into a state is not on account of this global investor summit. Okay, that depends on business conditions in that particular state, whether it's easy to do business in that state, whether it has infrastructure, power, roadways, whether it has a large market, and so on and so forth. But remember, even if a state has all these conditions, it must attract or invite investors to come to this particular place. And if you have a rack together, a global investor summit is a cost-effective way to do it. You get everybody to come to a state all at the same time, and given the fact that you have to make the same pitch to everybody because they all want the same thing, this is what you do. And if there are any questions on their part, they raise it and you clarify your problems. So global investors summit, in a sense, are not vain or useless exercises. I believe they are required. They help you make a splash. But at the end of the day, if you have not done your homework and then you go in for a global investor summit, then of course it won't work. So global investor summit can work if you have done your homework.
No, my
Okay.
question was related that a lot of these states sign up MOUs, but how
Right.
much of it is implemented on the ground later after the MOU is
That
signed?
would see again. That would depend on the state. And MOU is a post-investor or a pre-investment summit. MOU is something in a sense to buoy spirits. Keep your spirits buoyant. But again, it's action on the ground. What is an MOU? A memorandum of understanding. Both parties agree to do something. A
Yes,
serious
just on
state which
a term.
actually wants investment will essentially ensure that the MOU, if it is signed on seriously, is adhered to. A
Yes.
non-serious state will sign it and say, look, this is what we did. That's all. But let me tell you this. It's not so much the MOU. It is basically what you have done before and after the investor summit that will account for investment that is coming into your particular state.
On the
Okay.
same lines, what do you think about UP's recent summit which is going on?
I have not been to that summit, but the question is, what has UP done before the Global Investor Summit? I think that is the main question. If you look at what UP has been doing, this is something that people got to know suddenly during COVID. During COVID, people wanted to figure out that the central government was doing a lot of infrastructure projects. It was also encouraging the states to do a lot of infrastructure projects. And last year, people wanted to know what was the performance of the state when it came to the implementation of these particular projects. And to everybody's shock and awe, it turned out that UP was number one. Now, when you look at UP very, very closely, you find out that UP, although its gross state domestic product is much less than Maharashtra, or for that matter,
Even
Tamil
Tamil
Nadu.
Nadu, like the Tamil Nadu
Yeah,
also, it's very.
it's Capital expenditure, the amount that it's spending on infrastructure, is double that of both states.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's true.
What it has budgeted is 1,35,000 crores. 1,35,000 crores. For Maharashtra and Tamil Nadu, their figures are lower than this. Now, you could argue, look, UP in a sense is an infrastructure deficit state, and therefore it has a lot more catching to do. In certain respects, certainly. But no state in India can say, look, we have all the infrastructure that we want. So, what you are showing in UP in a sense is a turnaround. When it comes to infrastructure, the state is stepping up. Connectivity infrastructure is stepping up. When it comes to governance, you may talk about the bulldozer, but that serves to put the fear of God in people who would break the law. It has an economic strategy. It's basically talking about one district, one product. So
Exactly.
this is before the Global Investor Summit. So in a sense, it gives the appearance of a state which is getting its act together, which is getting its strategy together, and which is getting its policies together.
Hmm. Okay, Professor. Okay, thanks. Now we're going to take our last question for the night. Sudhindra is joining us. Thanks so
Hi,
much, Sudhindra, for
Professor.
being
Good
so
evening.
brave.
Good evening, Advaita. Can you hear me?
Hi. Good. Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, good evening, Advaita. Good evening, Professor. My question is this, that would you, rather than the top-down approach of industrialization that we're following, industrialize the cities first, then the semi-urban areas, then the rural areas, which is essentially sort of a euphemism for the trickle down that we in the 80s, the policies that we followed. Rather than that, if we follow the bottom up approach first, as to industrialization of the rural base first, we'll have a larger industrialized base, and thereby naturally the layers above will automatically get industrialized at a faster pace. Hello?
Professor, we can't hear you. We can't hear you.
I Okay,
Can
I
you
thought
hear me
probably it
now?
was just.
Now we can hear
Can
you.
you hear
Now we
me?
can hear you. Yeah,
Okay,
now we
okay.
can.
Sir,
Sorry.
did you get my question? Sir, did you
Yeah,
get my
I,
question?
I, I I got your question. I got your question. The industrialist who chooses to invest, where he will invest or not invest, whether in the rural areas or the urban areas, will depend on market forces. He will try to see where is the market. So, given the market, location of the market, where he is located, does that location have adequate infrastructure? If it has adequate infrastructure, if it's close to the markets, he'll set it up wherever it is. If that happens to be the rural area, he'll set it up in the rural area. If it's in the urban area, it'll be in the urban area. The thing is, for a poor country like ours, it is convenient to agglomerate all these facilities in a particular place. You know, you cannot electrify all your rural areas. It is easier to electrify an urban area. An urban area is also where you get clusters. What is a cluster? For example, I'm an apparel manufacturer. I need textiles. Okay. My textile supply cannot be very, very far away. I need personnel who have to service my machinery. That person cannot be very, very far away. So, given the fact that any industry needs the support of a host of other industries, locating them in a rural area becomes very, very difficult. Agglomeration and cluster economics ensure that factories have a tendency to agglomerate, and wherever there is an agglomeration, cities spring up. That is why industrial development invariably starts taking place in urban centers. We may like it to take place in rural areas, and there are models where you can actually do that. The Chinese, in a sense, did much of their industrialization in the rural areas as well. But even China, the success of China, in a sense, when it comes to industrialization, has been concentration of its industries in the province that are close to the coastline. So industrialization and concentration of industry, it has been shown, goes hand in hand. We may like to have it more spread out, but that's a wish. It does not always follow economics. Economics always does not follow what we like or do not like.
So, what would be
Okay.
the role if I were to industrialize the rural base first? What would be the role of creation of SEZs? which would be some sort of a star-like network, whereby having one central zone and then branches reaching out to different rural areas per district. Say, like for example, if you take the example of Shenzhen, a sleepy fishing village in 20 years became a megapolis of over 10 million people.
But you see, even Shenzhen, in a sense, concentrated growth in its own area.
Yeah,
Shenzhen, where
so
is Shenzhen? See,
on
so
the
the
coast.
question is because of, yeah, on the coast. So the internal provinces, in a sense, did not, benefit from Shenzhen. I'll tell you one of the ways of getting internal markets. You know, this the slogan going vocal for local. Basically, what does it say? That if any region or any locality, any district has a particular product, focus on that particular product. So what you do is the following. If there is a local product which is made locally, concentrate on it. You have a niche market. Niche market meaning that product is a novelty. People who want that particular product will pay a premium price for it. So what happens is, no matter your market could be very far away, but because your product has a novelty, people will pay a high price. So the high cost of transportation does not matter. There, you can basically talk about rural economics. Handicrafts is a very good example. So if I am making carpets, and if it's basically handloom carpets, I don't have to make it in cities. I can make it in rural areas. In fact, I can also automate part of those particular processes. But as long as the inherent quality of novelty and some of that root is attached to this particular product, you can sell it anywhere, and the beneficiaries of that will be the rural people who are associated with its manufacturer. It could be
Yeah.
clothes, it could be handicrafts, it could be food also.
I think UP is doing a great job with ODOP, which is one district, one product. But we've got to close this out now because it's been like nearly 2 hours. So thank you,
Oh,
Sudhindra, for joining us, and really thank you
Are
so
you there
much, Professor.
tomorrow? Are you there tomorrow?
Tomorrow we're going to be doing the Sunday Club tomorrow evening, and I just want to tell everybody, do like this stream, because that's how the algorithm works. If you like it, then it gets boosted up and more people watch it. And of course, leave comments, and we're going to try and do these viewer interactions more regularly. Today was very, very impromptu because we had to cancel the previous show. So then I asked Pallavi to come on, then I WhatsApped Professor, then I WhatsApped AIM, and everybody just came on from wherever they were. So no plan as such, but I think that's what makes YouTube fun, is that it's so spontaneous and authentic. So
By
do
the
keep
way,
coming
why
back to
is Kahani still your best written script?
because that's what happens when something becomes that successful, then everybody hangs it over your head. Yeah, it's the Sholay of my life. Nothing, very few things will compete and come up to that level that I create. So I wish it had come later in my career, but it came very early in my career. It was only my second film. So yeah, so everybody, we're going to catch you tomorrow. We're going to actually be talking about two very interesting things. One is that H word, which was used in Parliament, and we're going to get a bunch of bongs to talk to us about that. And the other thing that we're going to really talk about is the Twitter congressional hearings, which, Professor, I don't know if you've been watching them, but they have been, whew, they've been something. And there's a video that I have for you all. It's about 5.5 minutes long. So tomorrow we'll have Abhijit, we'll have Kanchana, Professor will be back, Pallavi will be there, Suhail will be there, Sandeep, if he's not traveling, will be there. So it'll be about 5, 6 of us, and we're actually going to uh, talk about. I'm going to play the video of that hearing, of the Twitter congressional hearings, and my God, they rip Twitter apart, and you just have to hear it to believe it. So we shall see you soon.
Chalo.
Ciao. Thanks, everyone. Do like, and of course, share, subscribe. And I want to thank our first Mr. Ghosh. Of course, he's a Bengali. And just want to thank him for becoming a member of the channel. And we're going to do some fun stuff with our members. We're going to figure it out and do something interesting. But thank you, everybody, for being here. And we'll see you tomorrow night.